Thanks, Borco. Playing Let Me Out by Electric Mary. And hello, and welcome to Third and Long, Australia's newest podcast series, providing you 360-degree access all areas to everything in the NFL with an Aussie twist. Third and Long is brought to you by Little Birdie TV and topsport.com.au. And a big welcome. Well, she is a San Francisco 49ers fan, but every now and again she likes the Dallas Cowboys. Big welcome to Paige Cardona.
Thank you very much, Corey. And the 49ers didn't lose this week because we had the bye. So it was a good week.
Yes, we do like that when our teams, for once in a week when we struggle, we say, yes, we had the bye. So, and speaking of byes, hello, Mark. How are you going?
Not too bad, thanks, Corey. My week was a bit interesting. I got a tough beat for the Patriots again, I guess. They got stunned by Paige. She was on Dallas. She stopped them. She burnt them. She said never again, and then all of a sudden she was back on them again.
Yeah, the life of a fickle Dallas Cowboys fan, huh?
Yeah, it was a tough ride, wasn't it? Yeah.
Wow, I tell you what, times are tough.
Yeah, so a couple of tough beats, Corey. Listen, the week didn't end well. Didn't start well. Got a tough beat on Tampa Bay. Philly got the late cover. And then we were riding with the last game, and we got beat with the Bills.
Well, do you know who did get up, though?
Who?
Corey McKernan.
The Colts.
The Colts finally won a game.
I know. And he was on them too.
They did. And we'll get to that a little bit later, they did form the 6-0 streak that I'm now on. But before we get to that, and later we'll be joined by Toprope for all things betting and NFL in his segment, To the House. But before we get to that, Paige, it's been a huge week in football. What's doing the rounds after now? Unfortunately, sadly, it was week 6 and the season is flying.
The season is well and truly flying, Corey. You're not wrong. But, we're heading now into week 7. We're getting serious now. We're into the second third of the season now, which is incredible considering how quickly it's all flown. But what I want to ask you boys this week, are we finally kind of giving Arizona now the credit that they deserve? The Cards, well, they're the only team that are undefeated in the league. They're 6-0, thoroughly impressive 37-14 thumping, and I mean thumping of the Browns in week 6. The Cards are unbeaten. They've had 4 more touchdown passes for MVP favourite, I think it's fair to say, Kyler Murray, to 3 different receivers. 5 sacks by the defense, 3 turnovers by the Browns, none by the Cards, and it wasn't just a victory, I thought, for the Cardinals. I thought it was actually a really good quality win against quality opposition. And I know we challenged them last week and said, well, are we really sold on them yet? Have we seen them really, against good opposition? The Browns are a good side, and well, now they've put themselves into potentially Super Bowl favoritism. They haven't won the Super Bowl since 1974. But, Mark, I'm going to start with you. Have we been sleeping on the Cardinals this season?
I don't think we've been sleeping on them. I think they're built into the season. Obviously, they're undefeated.
They've come in nicely now.
Yeah, they're coming in nicely and they're firing. They've got the second best offense, third best defense. Obviously, comes hand in hand a bit with being 6-0. I just think, they got Houston this week. Obviously, very strong favourites at the -17 round line. So it's one of the biggest lines we've got this week. But I just think after that, if you look at their draw, they've got some tougher teams. So I just think they're going well. You can't pot them. I just think moving forward, once we get past Houston this week, I think the next 4 or 5 weeks after that, they've got some quality teams, and just want to see the more longevity of it. But at the moment, the offense is hard to stop and the defense is getting the job done as well. So no pot on them at all.
Corey, speaking of the defense, I thought they were really fantastic against Cleveland for me. And we know that the Cardinals have a fantastic array of weaponry at receiver and at running back as well. But tell me more about their defense. I don't think it's been spoken enough about this year so far.
Yeah, well, I think in the off-season they did get, and I know he was always a rival in our division. That was for the Houston Texans, and I speak of none other than J.J. Watt, who is was really my favourite player in the NFL, and they picked him up in the off-season. Well, like you said, when they can go on the road and only keep a team to 14 points, and especially a team like the Browns, at the moment, they're just ticking the boxes. I don't think they've been such a sleeper, but for mine, even as Mark said, I think we really understand where the teams are at once we get to, I think, December. December becomes that real big month where it's been a long season and we're really going to be able to see where teams are at. And, but at the moment, they're making every post a winner. You can't fault them at the moment.
I've loved the work of Chandler Jones and safety Buddha Baker. They've been fantastic. So many fourth down stops have been a real highlight from that defensive unit so far. But we're going to talk about my second favourite team, I should say. I thought you'd appreciate that. Nice. The NFC East race, I'm calling it. I think it's over. I think it's well and truly over. The Cowboys, they didn't make it easy on themselves this week against your mob, Marco. Yes. And 115 yards of penalties, mind you, blown coverage and a long, late Mac Jones TD pass, which I'm sure you would have loved. Trayvon Diggs, Corey's mate, absolutely loves this guy. But they pulled off an overtime win in Foxborough, which is no mean feat against Bill Belichick's side. Dak's been impressive. Another breathtaking performance by second-year wideout CD Lamb. Everything's going well for this team. But, Corey, I want to ask you, can the Cowboys clinch the division by Thanksgiving? That's late November for those playing at home.
Well, in years gone by, we used to call this division NFC least because it nearly seemed like all the teams were winning it with a 500 or 50% type record. But I don't know. It was sort of as we predicted it last week. It's always, regardless of having no Tom Brady in at New England, it's still a tough place to go and play football. And we spoke about it last week. This was a game that it had all the makings of a Belichick and, really picking the Cowboys apart. Look, and maybe in years where the Cowboys aren't going so good, and probably even the early part of last year, the Cowboys probably would have gone in there and lost this game. But what I like about the Cowboys, other than the defense, and we spoke about our main man that's doing it all, is I think when they're starting to find ways to win, that was such a great win for the Cowboys. As I mentioned, I think it would have been games like this in years gone by, they would have gone in there and dropped that.
Marco, can the Cowboys win the Super Bowl? One word answer.
I'm going to say no.
Okay, justify yourself now.
Well, I just think...
all the Cowboys fans out there, shut down, Marco. No fun.
Well, I'm happy with a few teams going above them at the moment.
Yep.
Again, like they're 5-1. They're doing what they need to do. They've got balance both sides of the ball. Special teams are going well. They've obviously found a player in Diggs. We don't need to, go over that kind of thing. Dak's up and about. They've now got a two-headed running back combination. It's just not Zeke anymore. But I think they're well found at the $13. Like if you're betting the Super Bowl thing, I also think they're in the order. They're probably where they are. They're around that 5th, 6th, 7th.
They deserve to be where they are.
Yeah, I think they're well founded. They're always going to be there. The Dallas Cowboys, America's favourite team if you haven't got a team, or as you like to call them, your second team. So, I don't think you're going to get any favours backing the Cowboys ever. But at the moment, they're very good to watch. They're getting the job done. And also looking forward on Dallas, I think their draw is very good. They play a lot of ordinary teams going forward. And I think, just on rough calculations for me, I think 13-4 is probably about their record. So, if you put that in, they're probably going to start strong in that area behind probably still 2 or 3 Green Bay and stuff like that. But no pot for me. But Super Bowls are different.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Well, they've got the Vikings, the Broncos, Falcons, Chiefs, and Raiders. Those are the 5 games ahead of Thanksgiving. I think we're going to see the acid test against the Chiefs. I think that'll be a pretty good measuring stick to see how far they can go. But one guy I really want to make a mention of this week, in particular the entire team, Lamar Jackson. In my opinion, I think he's having a better season now than he did in his 2019 MVP year. Now, I don't know if that's an overreaction or an underreaction, but my big confession is that I picked against the Ravens last week. I didn't think they were going to be able to trounce the Bills. I just didn't think they had it in them.
No, the Chargers.
The Chargers,
yep.
Sorry.
Yes.
I'm a believer now in this team.
Right.
I fully am with Toprope. I know he loves the Ravens. He's
Yes,
all
tipped him.
over the Ravens,
Yes,
Toprope.
tipped him for the Super Bowl.
So with all due respect to Kyler Murray, you know, your Dak Prescotts of the world, Lamar Jackson has to well and truly be in calculations for the MVP, in my opinion. The Ravens played on a short week.
Yes.
They came off Monday Night Football. They've had 2 overtime winners this year already. They've held the pressure. They've not only met it, but they've exceeded it, in my opinion. They've made a mockery as the Chargers, as we just said. But Marco, Lamar v. the Chargers. This was a game that we built up massively during the week, didn't we?
Yes.
It was huge. And the Chargers, they didn't live up to the hype.
No.
They didn't get the acid test right. But Lamar Jackson, how impressive was he?
Yeah, he was. And I think not most, because Baltimore did start favourite because they were at home. But you know, the feeling was the value in the betting, I think, was on the Chargers side. Everyone was upbeat. Herbert, how the Chargers going? You know, I think few more people jumped on the bandwagon for sure. For them, it was their acid test. Going into Baltimore is never an easy thing to do.
No.
And they did get shown up, and they played poorly. And Herbert, I'm sure, would, you know, his press conference and everything like that, he put his hand up, and not one of his better games, but a great learning curve for them, the Chargers going forward. Baltimore, on the other hand, did step up. They saw it as a bit of a danger game. They don't like people coming into their house, not that any team does, and almost, you know, not being considered expected to win. So I think from that aspect, awesome effort by not just Lamar Jackson. Obviously, he leads the team around. They did on both sides of the ball. To hold the Chargers with their offense as well to 6 points is a feat in themselves. But, you know, I want to say, Paige, I just think that with Baltimore, I'm not getting overly excited at the moment with him, with the team. I know Lamar's going well, but, you know, they've played some ordinary teams other than the Chargers last week, which were 4-1 coming in. They've only, you know, they lost to the Raiders, I think, first up, and then they played some ordinary teams. So I'm just not overly sold on. That's a fair comment. How good they're going.
I'll accept that.
No pot on Lamar Jackson, and last week they were unbelievable.
Yeah, I don't mind that take, but Corey, how deep can the Ravens go? Marco's just told us he's not quite there at believer level yet. Tell me, this was supposed to be a division that was going to be one of the toughest in the league. They're a 5-1 record at the moment, the Ravens. Season, they obviously started with a huge raft of injuries, not just to start with, but as the season went on in the first couple of weeks. How deep now can the Ravens go?
I think the exciting thing of what we're actually seeing with him, we all know his ability to use his legs, but I think the thing that we've noticed, and he definitely did this against the Colts. The Colts went into that game a couple of weeks ago thinking, hang on, we've got to stop the run. But he then just picked the Colts apart and then I think threw for over 400 yards. So, look, it's going to be interesting. There's so many teams you can build a case for, and the Ravens are definitely going to be one of them. They want to go back to the playoffs, and for them, I mean, they're going to find a way to get over that hump and make it to the Super Bowl.
One of the big takeaways I had this week was just the incredible game.
He is big.
Of the one and only, you know who I'm going to mention? Derrick Henry. There's not another running back even in the same universe as Derrick Henry at the moment. And in an age where running backs are so incredibly undervalued, D. Henry, as I said, is a law unto his own right now. He's probably the only player in NFL history who seems to absorb contact the way that he does and convert it into energy. This guy is superhuman. He's transcending the game at the moment. He carried the ball 20 times on Monday Night Football, 143 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 catches as well. Why is Derrick Henry such a good running back, Marco? Take me through it.
Because he's a beast.
I mean, we know he's a beast. We know that. Thank you, Captain Obvious.
Well, I mean, yeah, he is. I mean, he's, what is he, 240 pounds? He's over 6 foot. You know, I was speaking to Corey just before the show started. It's crazy the fend-off ability he's got. He likes the contact, and I like the analogy you use. He uses the contact to get the energy. And when he went for that long 75-yarder, and you look at it from the side-on camera that they had, once he got through the line of scrimmage, the explosion that he had, he went through 3 or 4 blokes before they turned. And obviously, by the time they turned, it was to the house. But yeah, I mean, he's too big, and the problem is when he gets into the secondary and he's got the linebackers and the safeties, it's an unfair fight. You know, it's like a heavyweight boxer. You know, challenging a lightweight or a middleweight in a lot of instances. And he just believes he's going to run and fend off anyone that comes in his way. Very few people bring him down on the first tackle, don't they? Once he's in motion.
You can't stop him. When he gets to that, as soon as he even cops contact, I mean, you just know he's going to not only make the first down, but he's just going to go and go and go again.
Yeah, I think that's where Dusty Martin in the AFL got the fend off from
Well, and that's the way you've nearly got to approach it. When someone is coming at you like that, you're not going to go their body. You've really got to go his arm. You've got to go after his arm and try and get his arm out the way, because he's so good at using his arm as that fender. But it's not only uses it to hold you off, but if he's running at you, he's going to use it to push you over it. And there's so many times in games of football, we're not talking about little kids he's pushing over. He's pushing over guys that are like that 220 to 260 pounds and making them look like little kids.
Corey, I want to ask you this, and I think it's probably something that maybe, potentially there are listeners out there and go, well, why are running backs so, unloved? There seems to be, they're very undervalued, they're very underrated. Why in the modern era, Corey, is there not so much love given to the running back position in NFL?
I was astounded today. I think on one of the sports shows, I think it might have been on Stephen A. Smith's, and they rattled off who was the favourite for the MVP, and how the hell that Derrick Henry's name is not in the conversation. And it's so weird that everyone agrees in order to make a run at winning a Super Bowl, you need a really good running back. But for some unknown reason, they just don't get any love when it comes to winning the major awards. But the things that Derrick Henry does, like, I'm in awe of, and it's probably over even little things during games where he's just so powerful. But the difference he makes to that team, it gives the Titans so much confidence that the longer that game goes on, they know in the third and fourth quarters that the opposition have given their best shot against Derrick Henry. He's going the same pace. It's not as if he gets stronger. He just has an ability to maintain it over 4 quarters. And God help if you're playing against him, because it is impossible to stop.
It's really interesting, isn't it? Like in terms of undervaluing a running back, they obviously have shorter careers because they cop so much contact. And it's not just contact, it's brutal impact straight up. It's very similar to, I guess, what we would watch here in Australia, rugby league, rugby union. It's just that constant into a brick wall. So they deal with that. But for whatever reason, again, I think, Corey, you made a really great point, is that we're talking about offensive players that have such massive impacts on the game. The fact that Derrick Henry isn't even in calculations to talk about an MVP award when he is influencing the game that he is at the rate that he does, it just blows my mind. But very interesting there on him.
But I think, Paige, Derrick Henry would be the one that all the coaches, if they have a coaches award in the NFL, he would be the one that I think from the coaches' point of view would get more votes than many of the quarterbacks, because they're looking at the game and their impact on the game and how you're going to stop these guys. So I think the coaches would value him way, way high. Like, while he doesn't get the media plaudits, he would, off the coaches, they know that they're going into a game. They're going, how the hell are we going to stop this guy?
On that, Corey, that, when you look at the business end of the year, you need a quarterback that's going to take you to a Super Bowl. And so when you look at the Titans and you say, well, can the Titans win a Super Bowl? And the answer is probably no, because they're saying that Derrick Henry is unlikely to carry you to a Super Bowl and Tannehill won't get the job done. So in terms of importance, it still comes back to the top 4, 6, 8 teams in the comp when it comes to the business end are carried on the back of the quarterbacks more so than the running backs. Henry's the exception to Tennessee, but I just think in terms of giving plaudits to someone, that Tennessee probably can't get to the Super Bowl on the back of Henry alone, that Tannehill's going to have to find another gear, which he's maybe not capable of doing.
It really poses a very, very interesting theory around, does a team then go out and get Henry if they're capable of getting him, or do Tennessee go out and get a QB they know can get them to a Super Bowl, given just, again, we're talking pure ability to win games, control games that Henry does. It's a very rare thing. We haven't seen a running back in the game like this for quite a long time, where you can put all your eggs in one basket knowing that Derrick Henry isn't exactly unstoppable. Well, sorry, he cannot be stopped. He is someone that is influencing games at such a rate that opposition teams, they don't really defend well against the run game anyway.
Yeah.
And I think what Tennessee have found now is that they're able to poke holes in the run game defense of oppositions because of what they got at their disposal.
Yeah, I think, there's a few things. It's like if Tennessee are in the game or front running, then they play their style of game. And that's to beat it through the middle, go through Henry and stuff like that. The problem is if they get down early, that they have to change their game plan.
Massively.
And if they have to score quickly, even though Henry can bust through and score for 75 yards, once or twice a game if you need to be, but you need to change it on the back of your quarterback throwing the ball long if you need to score quickly. So that kind of thing helps. And also Tennessee's defense is not what, say, people will say, well, Baltimore won Super Bowls on the back of their defense. 100% they did. And they also run it with a run game. That combination works for teams if they've got the defense, which Tennessee to date don't have it. I think they're ranked in the 20s at the moment.
Yep.
So from a scoring point of view, Henry one out just won't be the equation to get you to a Super Bowl win for me.
It's a very interesting theory. He's definitely making massive inroads, Derrick Henry. But we're going to leave it there for front page news this week, boys. Coming up next, Corey McKernan has a very special guest, Mr. Collingwood Premiership captain Nick Maxwell.
God. Who?
Massive
Right.
massive fan of Maxie. He loves his NFL too. So stay tuned for Corey's interview with Nick Maxwell.
Well, welcome back to Third and Long. I've actually got one of my favourite people because not only is he a fellow Indianapolis Colt, he's a 2010 Premiership captain. A very warm welcome to my fellow shoe man in Nick Maxwell. How you going, mate?
Good, Corey. How are you, buddy?
Good. It's been a bit of a bumpy ride thus far, but before we get into all things Indy and the NFL, just give everyone a quick, how did you end up following the Indianapolis Colts? Out of all the team in the NFL, how did we land on Indy?
Yeah, well, if you go back to, I guess, my days as a player, we started going to training camps in Arizona. So we did I think we did 7 and 8 years or 8 and 9 years. So the first one I was on, I was sitting there with Josh Fraser and we were actually watching just games. And he's going, mate, you got to pick someone, you got to pick a team because he's a big Miami fan.
He is.
So I was watching them and trying to work out which team I wanted. And I wanted to take my time. And I didn't want one of the big ones that everyone followed. It was too obvious. And we're watching a Monday night game and Peyton Manning just put on an absolute clinic. And I was like, yeah, that's a guy I could follow and I could root for. So started following the Colts. That was 2006, about 4 or 5 rounds in, and they ended up winning the Super Bowl that year. So it worked out well for me. And obviously we had the foundations ready to go again with Andrew Luck, and he pulled the pin. So it's sort of been scrambling ever since.
And how funny was it? This is a very funny story that not a lot of people know, that through a mutual friend of ours in Tony Sells. Now, Tony Sells reached out to me and said, I need you to get a helmet signed by Peyton Manning. So I scrambled high and low, and then I actually went to Kyle Kinnett, who you've met, another great Indianapolis Colts fan and great man that can get us all sorts of packages. I reached out to Kyle. We got a helmet, and then unbeknownst to me, where did that helmet land, by the way?
It's been in my office at the club for about 5 years since we went back to Collingwood, and I've got it at home at the moment because we've got a bit of development going on at the footy club. So, yeah, I didn't know exactly what was happening or where it was. All Tony just said to me, who's your favourite team or your favourite player? And I said, obviously Peyton. I'm a big Colts fan. And, he ended up, you bought it back for me.
Quite interesting. Now, the other thing that you were very fortunate enough to do, and you actually joined us at Super Bowl 50. So just give everyone a bit of an insight in what it was like to actually attend the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. It was always on the to-do list, the bucket list. And I waited, I think it was my first year after I retired. And I said to my brother, look, he's an NFL fan. He's a Patriots fan. And said, look, I'm keen to go. What do you want to do? You want to come with me? And he sort of threw it around. He decided to come. So it was an unreal trip. We went, flew into LA, spent a night in LA. Went and watched a Lakers game. then flew to San Fran and spent 4 nights in San Fran for the Super Bowl, which was unreal. And it's just everyone's buzzing every single day. It's like just unbelievable the way that it all works. And went to the Super Bowl, and funnily enough, Peyton actually won the Super Bowl, but he wasn't playing for the Colts, so it was the Broncos game. And then from there went to Vegas for 3 days. If you're all the way over there, you might as well chip into Vegas for a few days on your way back, and spent the next couple of weeks recovering.
Exactly. Now on to all things Indianapolis, one of my favourite topics to talk about now. Given that you're involved in Collingwood and probably seeing Carson Wentz with the preseason that he'd hurt his leg, all things considered, where do you sit in terms of what sort of a year he's had? Because from my point of view, I don't know whether it's as bad as what people have been making out.
Yeah, it's probably a tough one to really analyse at the moment, given he's had 2 injuries really. So he had the first one with the surgery. And Quentin Nelson went at the same time, so that obviously hurt, losing basically your best offensive lineman who protects him there. So it's tough to judge him on that. And also he hasn't had all his weapons. So obviously TY came back and looked like the old TY, and then all of a sudden he's gone again. So and now Paris Campbell's gone again. So I'm really hoping there's still. I'm not sure exactly, you might know how long there is, but the trade window is still open for a little bit at the moment. The guy I've sort of been hoping we make a play for is it maybe an Allen Robinson from the Bears. He's just been a shadow of himself in terms of the way that's worked with Fields and Dalton before that. So he's obviously, they put him on the franchise tag, so they don't rate him high enough to sign into a long-term deal. But I think you'd probably get him a lot cheaper now. I just feel that Pittman needs someone else. And they said when they drafted Pittman that the coach said, look, I think he could be the best player in the draft, best wide receiver in the draft, which is a big call given Jefferson and Lamb and all these guys went before him. But they obviously rate him. He's shown plenty, but he needs some help around him. Now TY is injured again. And obviously in his last year, Paris Campbell's probably out for the season after the injury that he caught with his foot. So, and I rate him as well. It's just unfortunate he's just never out there. So I think it's got to be the JT show, obviously, if we're going to go anywhere this year, which is going to be a challenge given where we're falling early in the season. But I'd really love to see make a play for an Allen Robinson or someone this year. If not, then maybe make a splash with like a Chris Godwin or someone in free agency next year.
Now, an interesting topic, which I know that we will cover on Third and Long, and you, again, obviously being involved in a high-level sports team, what did you make of from a coaching perspective, about the Bills going for it at the end of the game? Where the dynamic, just give everyone sort of a bit of an insight, because I know you're sitting in the coaching box and you analyse different decisions in games. Where do you sit with that type of decision in a game of sport?
Yeah, probably the thing that's come into NFL over the last 2 or 3 years is really that analytics. So they'll actually say you'll see a lot more going for 4 and 1, whereas 5 years ago that was something that never happened. Even you look at the Chargers and they're basically doing it every time, and even their own half, just about. So they don't need to pay their punter or anything. But I think what their analytics would tell them is the percentage of Josh Allen getting it is X. So they go, all right, well, that percentage is 60% or 70%. So we can end the game now, or we can risk going into overtime. And if they score a touchdown, and the big thing they also would have been going through their mind is they just couldn't stop Derrick Henry. He was just absolutely eating him up. And the fact that Julio was gone meant that AJ Brown was catching everything as well. So, look, that would all go into their consideration. But at the same time, they've got 30 seconds maybe to make that call. I'm not sure if you had more timeouts or not, but they get the analytics. The coach makes a decision. If he gets it and they win, then we're all going, oh, he's a genius, how ballsy, how good was that? But the fact they didn't, then we all go, oh, what was he thinking? So, I mean, they've got their analytics and they take all that information on board. For me, I think it was probably the right call. Like, Josh Allen's massive. You see he slipped. That left foot's planted and he slipped. So I was actually surprised that he didn't just run some sort of a wheel route or something to get that extra yard, rather than trying to sneak through like that. I think it's probably easier that way for a massive guy like him. But yeah, you live and die by the sword. And ultimately, they've still been, I mean, I would have thought that would have been one of the favourites before that game, but the Titans really got into their their defense and were better than what I thought they were.
Now, and just the final one before we go. Now, this is going to be a very expansive answer. Who's the team to beat? Who do you expect to be there when the whips are cracking? There's so many cases you can mount at the moment, but who are the ones that are in the conversation? I always probably look at it that we don't really get an idea until we get to December and we're getting into that real deep part of the season. But at the moment, who are the ones that you really like and with what they're doing on offense and defense and adding up to the final product?
Obviously, Brady and the Bucks, which is probably the obvious answer. But I think the Rams are going to be up there as well. I think that they've still got a lot of new pieces, and obviously Stafford and Cup, that connection's been unbelievable, but he's still got Woods and Van Jefferson and those guys there. So I actually think that they're going to be up there. They've got a great defense, which is obviously important. I'm not too sure about the Chiefs, to be honest. Their defense isn't great. Mahomes, you've seen the opposition take out a Hill or a Kelsey, and then there's only one of those options to go to. So he's going to have to find something with Hardman or with Robinson or someone like that. And obviously Edwards-Hilaire's out for an extended period of time. So the running game is going to fall on Darrell Williams. So I'm not exactly sure where they're at. I don't see him in that top tier right at this minute. But if you doubt Patrick Mahomes, you're probably mad. I thought the Bills before the weekend, but again, I didn't get to see all that game to get a real understanding of how exactly Tannehill moved the ball so well against him. So I thought the Bills' defense the week before against Mahomes was unbelievable. So I want to go back and have a look at that. And the Cardinals undefeated, and probably the big thing with that is that Kyler actually hasn't had to run. He's been doing it with his arm most of the time, so he's still got that up his sleeve. Where he has had a bit of a sore shoulder, but if he gets his feet going, then it just adds another a whole different different way they can win the game. So the fact he's got Hopkins, the fact that AJ Green, if he can stay healthy, he's been dangerous for him. He's been there for him, and still got Christian Kirk and geez, Rondale Moore. He's exciting to watch, isn't he? Him and Tony from the Giants, the way they've come in, all their quick feet and their little quick moves. So he's only a 6-game veteran. So I think that he's only going to get better as the season goes on. And they've obviously got a great defense with JJ Watt coming in and other guys. So if I had to flag planet, I'm not going to do the obvious and say the Bucks just because that's what everyone would expect you to say. I'm going to say the Rams. I just think Stafford going there, and it's going to be a pretty cool game this week when he goes back and plays against Detroit. So I think that they've got the offense, and I think they've got the defense to be able to make a massive splash this year.
So if the Rams are in it, who are they playing in the Super Bowl? Which, by the way, will be for the second year in a row someone playing in their home stadium.
Yeah, that's a good question. Trying to think who the best ones. Who did I mention on that side of it? It's not going to be the Colts. I know that much. So I got no idea. I can just throw a blanket over it. I think that's probably that's the strongest side, isn't it? So I don't know, mate. I'm just going to go with the Rams. I'm going to go for my Colts. Hope they make a splash. As I said, and try and get an Allen Robinson type or someone like that who's a little bit out of favour at their own club. And hope that we can scrape our way to the top of that division because we're a fair way behind. So I don't think any wild cards will be coming our way. So we're probably going to get up there and knock the Titans off.
We won't, but look, on behalf of Third and Long, we know we've got a busy day ahead being involved in the empire that is the Collingwood Football Club. But a big thanks for joining us. As everyone can see, Maxie really knows his stuff, and in particular our beloved Indianapolis Colts. And hopefully, Maxie, we are doing a Super Bowl party in February, and hopefully we might be able to see you there where you can get the coach will give you the day off and you can come and join us. So a big thanks for joining us this morning on Third and Long.
Appreciate it, mate. Thanks for having me. All the best.
Well, welcome back, and it's time now for To The House, which is brought to you by topsport.com.au. Family owned and operated for 35 years. Bet with a bookie you can trust. Bet with topsport.com.au. And Marco, take us to the house.
Thanks, Corey. Okay, time for To The House, and we need to bring in our man, Nick Toprope Tedeschi, for this week's games that we're going to have a look at and also to see how he went for last week. So, Nick Toprope Tedeschi, how are you, my friend?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. That's got the impending birth of child number 2 less than a week away, so fairly hectic at the moment, great man.
Yes, I know you're normally a pretty calm character, but you sound a man under plenty of pressure at the moment.
It is coming from all directions. All directions. If I could get 10 minutes to myself, it'd be a minor miracle.
All right. Did we have a chance to look at this week's games? What was your highlight this week, Top Rope? Other than your couple of winners, but what was your highlight, your most exciting game?
Last week, my highlight, which would probably be your low light, MG, was Philly taking the 2 after coming back from, I think, 28-7 down to cover the flat 7 there. So God bless Nick Sirianni there at Philadelphia. That was certainly a gambling highlight. From an actual highlight, seeing Aaron Rodgers tell Chicago Bears fans that he owns them,
yes,
was another real highlight for me. So, and the John Gruden impact, you can tell how much the Raiders love John Gruden by how hard they came out to play to win on the road against Denver. So, yeah, a few good things last week, but I can't think of a more fascinating storyline than this John Gruden one, and not so much what Gruden did. Like, he had no choice but to go. He was never going to survive that. And we will never see him again in the NFL in any capacity. What I'm stunned at is I can't wait for the story to come out as to why any of the Gruden emails were released. What else is in there? So I know the NFL says they're not releasing them, but I think there might be a bit more to this story.
Yeah, they sound pretty widespread. He's not emailing him to himself, that's for sure. So, yeah, ducking and cover at the moment, the NFL, and he's the only soldier so far to take the hit.
Yeah, absolutely. And he can probably consider himself a bit unfortunate, because I reckon this could be absolute carnage if those emails get released. We might see half the NFL out.
Yeah, well, maybe you should offer to write his book, Top Rope. That'll give you something to do in the new breeding program that you got going up in Orange.
I'm just flush with time at the moment, kid. That's exactly what I need, to spend some time with John Gruden.
That'll be good to see. All right, we'll have a quick look here as we put up the graphic. We'll just quickly go over the Week 6 wrap, where it was a solid week for favourites, actually. We only had 14 games, so it's a bit higher percentage. 10 out of the 14. 8 of those covered the line. The totals were a bit different. You see there, it's a 5-7-2 split. There was 2 that landed on the total, so they don't count towards the stats. And a very good week again away for the home teams. It was only for the away teams. There was only 5 out of 14 home teams, and you can see the season wrap so far that the favourites are, the Dogs are definitely having the best of it here. Top Rope at 63%, and still, although they're coming up to parity, I guess, at 50-50, the line and the total, and the home teams are right on 50%. What's your take after a good sample size of 6 weeks? The home teams aren't dominating probably as you would expect or in previous years.
No, it seems like the angle here is road favourites, where but you kind of see this. You saw this a bit in league this year as well, where there is a fairly notable talent disparity, but you're just playing with a smaller line. The home field advantage probably isn't playing, the same impact it did once upon a time, and kind of you've seen that a lot in the NBA over the last kind of decade as well. The comfort of travel, all that stuff. You're just not copying the same drama. So, I'm certainly factoring in home field advantage a touch less. I'm probably more to the point. I'm probably not as frightened off of road favourites as perhaps you would be. So, look, and the new overtime rules are probably a little interesting as well. New overtime's been there for a year and a half now, I think, but 2.5 years. But the ability to score that touchdown, you're never safe with the 3 or the 3.5. Usually, used to be you'd go to overtime, you'd be right as rain. But if you saw it in the Dallas Pats game, if you had the Pats plus 3.5, you're pretty filthy on life right now.
Yeah, it's good. It's been, I think it's the...
it is good. It's a good rule.
Yeah, the overtime rule is good. It adds to the excitement, obviously. And I think they said that this season is the only season that all 6 weeks we've had an overtime game. So it's very good viewing. And we've seen some absolute belters. And in prime time as well, Top Rope. We seem to get most of the overtime games when we've got them in prime time television, which is good.
Probably should have had another one with the Bills and Titans there, kid.
Yeah, we'll skip over that. The bookends for the week weren't great, Top Rope, I'll tell you, with a late Philly touchdown and also the Bills making. I didn't have a problem with him going for it. I thought they were a touch unlucky.
No, I didn't. It was probably the smart play to go for it, but it was the analytics play to go for it there. I had no drum with it either, but when it doesn't come off, you do feel a bit flat.
Yes. Yes, some of us did feel a bit flat at Top Rope, but anyway. Solid week 6. We'll just have a quick look at Top Rope's to the house statistics here. He's now sitting at the season tallies 16-16 for the Lions and totals. He went 3-2 in week 6. You can see there on the graphic, he started well with Green Bay. Just very unlucky in the Rams Giants to miss out by half a point or 1 point, depending on how you read it. Wasn't close with the Chargers, but then come home strongly with Arizona. We were tipping them very strong as outsiders there at the +3. And Top Rope, it was a pretty easy watch. I'm going to say it was an easy watch with the Buffalo Tennessee game, although it was only 3-0 at quarter time. But geez, they put the pedal down in quarters 2 and 3 there to get it pretty easy in the end.
Oh yeah, it was strange. Even though it was only 3-0 in the first quarter, you kind of always felt like the game was probably heading in the right direction, if you know what I mean. So I kind of just had that feel to it. There was plenty of offense around. Kind of just wasn't quite clicking early on. But back to that Rams Giants game. Bit unlucky if you missed the total there. Like that did jump 49.5. So hopefully punters got on late and did get the money there. But the Giants trying all the way to the end and then got a late 2-point conversion to send it to 49 points. So not ideal for some.
Some you get, some you lose there, Tom. It's amazing how close these are.
Losing a lot more than I'm getting lately these days. Kid.
Yeah, no, you're right, mate. All right, we'll get on. We've got 8 TV games to get through. Big card again. Even though I've only got shortened schedule again this week with a lot more team on the buys, but we start again with our Friday match here at 11:20 on ESPN. Top Rope here, we've got the Broncos travel to the Browns here. We've got Browns at a 3.5 line favourite, a low total of 42 flat. Both teams 3-3 here, Top Rope. We've got both teams on losing streaks of 2 and 3 respectively. Few injuries for the Browns. Does that make it hard coming off a short week assessing this game?
Yeah, it makes it nearly impossible, to be honest. Kareem Hunt definitely out. Nick Chubb didn't play last week. Looks unlikely to play this week. Baker Mayfield says he will play, but suffered a pretty nasty shoulder injury last week as well. So some pretty key players there. Look, I'd probably rather be with Denver. Teddy Bridgewater, 38-15-1 against the Spirit as a starter throughout his career. So that's a good little nod there. The Broncos have covered 6 of their last 8 of allowing 30+. They bounced back well. Browns covered just 2 of the last 7 as a home favourite. Probably are the better team, but just a little too much of a concern. They weren't great against the Cardinals last week. They were pretty soundly beaten. They've covered just 3 of their last 12 a double-digit home loss. The Brownies. So taking Denver, but look, you really got to wait to see who's playing and who's not to be betting too early in this game.
Okay, Paige, what's your thoughts on Denver-Cleveland this week?
Look, the Browns they've run into an injury mess at the moment, and that's what is a little bit concerning. What was more concerning was that injury to Baker Mayfield, that left shoulder. Again, if I'm a Browns fan, I'm a little bit concerned. Not that Denver should be a worry. Okay, I don't think Denver are going to be someone that are going to trouble you too much, whether it's in the air or it's on the ground. Teddy Bridgewater, he's been pretty good this year. He's given his receivers a lot to work with. I still don't think, though, that Denver are going to be capable of winning this game. I'm still going to take the Browns even with a couple of injury concerns.
Okay, next match we've got kicks off our Monday 4 a.m. games here. We've got the Chiefs travelling to Tennessee. This game will be a cracker on last week's performance. We've got Chiefs the away favourite here, Top Rope, at line of -4.5 and a very high total of 56.5. We've got both teams off wins and very good offences for both. And Tennessee, obviously, off a shortened week here. As you mentioned before, they got that great win against Buffalo at home. Can they back it up against the Chiefs? Their schedule's a little tough at the moment.
Yeah, look, they haven't been any favours by the schedule makers there, the Titans. got to be on the over in this one. I know it's a big total here, but this is the first game I've modelled up where the total has nudged on 60 here, so slight edge to the over. Titans just a big over team, 27-9 overall, 21-7 over off a win, 8-1 over as a dog. The over is 4-0 when Kansas City are off allowing less than 15, 5-1 when they're off a win. Plenty of points in this, huge shootout potential here. Got to be with the over in this one.
Okay, Corey, what's your thoughts? The big match, KC v the Titans this week.
Isn't this an enormous game? I think it's probably a bigger game for Kansas than Tennessee, even though for both they dearly want to pick up the points. The Chiefs, well, they cleaned up their offense a little bit last week, although Patrick Mahomes started to find a bit of harmony with Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. Well, the Titans, they're coming off the human truck, the Kenworth, Derrick Henry. Can they give him the ball enough times, and can Ryan Tannehill pull his finger out and do the job? But I don't think so. I think Mahomes will out-duel Tannehill, and it should be a great game at 4 a.m. Monday morning.
Okay, next match, another 4 a.m. game. This is on ESPN2. We've got Carolina Panthers travel to New York to take on the Giants. Close betting game here. We've got the Panthers, the away favourite at -2.5 and a very low total of 43 flat. Top rope, we've got two struggling teams here. Panthers, after a very good start to get to 3-0, have now lost 3 in a row. And the struggling Giants at 1-5. The quarterback queries on both teams. How do you see this matchup?
Yeah, the real Sam Darnold has really come back to fruition after a couple of good games at the start of his Carolina career. Yeah, I'm going with the under here. The Giants are a huge under team. They've gone under 11 of their last 14. 11 of the last 14 off a loss of 14 plus 7 straight at home. Carolina gone under in 4 straight as a favourite, 4 straight off allowing 30 plus. No real idea with the side here. Probably lean towards Carolina as a slight road favourite here, but the under is how we've been in this game.
Okay, Paige, what's your thoughts here? Two struggling sides here. What have you got for me? Carolina Giants.
Gee, we haven't been blessed with a good one on TV, have we here? I tell you what, it's bleak. It's bleak, this one, I feel. Potentially things could get bleaker if you're a Giants fan. They are in a world of pain at the moment. Daniel Jones is still a bit iffy. Barkley's out. You know, they've got an array of receivers that are either on the injury list or about to be put on. They're completely under a cloud. I am not convinced on the Giants in any matchup at all this year, which is the only reason I'm taking Carolina. I don't think Sam Darnold is overly fantastic. I don't think he has that many, weapons in his kit bag, so to speak, that are going to really trouble you. But in saying that, they've still got a good run game, I think, the Panthers, and that's probably where this game's going to be won and run. And the Giants, just anything the Giants are at the moment, I stick my nose up at it. It's just smells a bit down there at New York, doesn't it?
Okay, the last of our 4 a.m. games on Monday morning. We've got a belter here for you, Top Rope. We've got the Bengals travelling to Baltimore Ravens. We've got Ravens at home, a pretty strong favourite here, line of 6.5. Mid-range total of 46.5. This is a divisional matchup here, Top Rope, 4-2 via 5-1. Ravens have now won 5 in a row. How do you see the Burrows v Jackson matchup? Who you got in this?
Yeah, the division road underdogs early, or the first 3 quarters of the season, was such a positive ROI, so I definitely lean towards the Bengals on that front. But Baltimore have just dominated this division, covered 8 of their last 9 division games, and they tend to really hold form when their offense is clicking, covered 16 of 21 or scoring 30 plus. Slight lean towards the Ravens here, but the best bet in this one is the under. Under is 22-6 when the Bengals are off a win of 14 plus, 17-5 when they are a road dog, 35-16 when they are off scoring 35, scoring 30 plus. So Baltimore 7-2 under off a win, 17-5 under off allowing 15 or less. So betting the under in this game.
Okay, Corey, you seem to be getting the good games this week. Cincinnati at Baltimore. What have you got for us in this divisional matchup?
You get the good games, Marco, because when you're 6-7, you get these things. But the Bengals, I reckon, the Bengals for me, they've been a bit of the surprise packet of the season thus far, and especially with Joe Burrow. Yeah, for mine, they've been a bit of a surprise packet. But going into Baltimore, it's probably at the moment no tougher task in football. And for mine, I think the Ravens will continue on.
We go from a cracking game to the next one at 7:25 here on 7 Mate. We've unfortunately got one of the most lopsided games we've seen this year. We've got the Texans travelling to the undefeated Cardinals. Cardinals, can you believe it here? Line of -18 flat and a lowish total for a big line of 47 flat. This is a definition of a mismatch here, Top Rope. Houston have lost 5 in a row and the Cardinals are 6-0. Are they any chance of holding the line here, Houston, or will Arizona put up a big number?
It's hard to make a case here for Houston. It really is. The kind of stat that's really standing out this year is how much rookie QBs have struggled against a quarter as an experience here. 6-14 against the spread this season. Houston have covered just 3 of their last 11 against a winning team. Look, they showed up and they put in against the Colts last week and they still got blown out. Colts are a far inferior team to the unbeaten Cardinals. Cardinals have covered 6 of their last 7 off allowing less than 15 and covered 4 straight. So lean towards the Cards, not jumping into a huge number in this one. Small bet Arizona.
Go, Paige. You look like you get the lopsided games here. I don't know. You drew the odd games. You picked them, and you've got a shocker here. Houston travel to Arizona. We've got a line of 17.5 in this game. What are your thoughts? Are you going to be brave and tip Houston?
I'll tell you what. This is definitely. I've bought this on myself. I will say. The only thing I care about in this game is watching what JJ Watt and DeAndre Hopkins do to Davis Mills. That's all I care about. It is going to be, you could probably slap like a parental advisory warning label on this game. It is going to get that bad. It is, look, Houston, I mean, I don't want to, go to town on them, but they're not much chop. We haven't seen them. They've got an array of issues. The talent's not quite there. They're not winning games because of it. Davis Mills, well done. He's done pretty well coming in and making the most of his opportunities, I think, so far. But when you've got someone like Kyler Murray at QB, I'm almost kind of getting the feeling right now with him that he loves being pushed back. He loves the scramble. He loves almost like, that kid in high school that are just, make you pressure him so he could show off and do dumb things and then they come off. That is Kyler Murray right now. He loves the pressure. He loves to try and show off and flex, and they are doing so many wonderful things, Arizona. If I'm honest, that line, that's generous.
It's generous.
It's generous. So I think they're going to do damage this week, and that's something I think I'm going to look at.
The second of our 7:25 games on Monday is Chicago Bears travel down to play Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the defending Super Bowl champs. We've got a very strong favourite again here, Top Rope. Brady and his men, a line of -13 flat. A lowish total for a big line again of 47 flat, so expecting one-way scoring. 3-3 Bears against the 5-1 Tampa Bay Bucks. Brady v another rookie quarterback, which you said struggling a bit this year. Is it a case of Tampa Bay simply outscore the Bears here?
Yeah, I think so for sure. Like, I've got confidence on the big line a lot higher in this game here. Look, they can obviously score the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Covered 6 or 7 at home. 4 of the last 5 is a home favourite. Look, that rookie QBs against non-rookie QBs, 6-14 against the spread. Bears 6-13 against the spread for loss. Covered just 1 of their last 6 as a dog. I think Tampa Bay have far too much firepower here. I'm not sure where Chicago are scoring there. They meet the number 1 run defense in the NFL. The only way they could move the ball last week against the Packers was to run it. I don't think they can rely on Justin Fields to get anything going. So I think the Bucks do it comfortably.
Okay, Corey, what are your thoughts here? We've got the Bears travelling to the defending champs, the Bucks. Is Brady going to march on in this game?
Yeah, I think he will, Marco. You can bet that Brady, remember, it's one of his worst losses was in his first season, came at the Bears. And we know Tom Brady has a memory like an elephant, doesn't he? He can get himself up or find any excuse to rip through an overrated Chicago defense at home. Look, Justin Fields, he won't get any help at all. And again, I think Tampa Bay at -13, I think they are a pretty good bet in that one.
Okay, the late Monday game here at 11:20 on ESPN is the Indianapolis Colts travel to San Francisco by the Bay to take on the 49ers. We've got San Francisco home favourite here of -4 flat, and the total is at 44 flat. Top rope, two struggling sides here. San Francisco off the bye. They had a lot of injuries going into the bye. Meanwhile, the Colts have found a bit of form through both their quarterback Wentz and Taylor is marching up and down the field. The Colts, any chance for an upset against the 49ers?
Oh, big chance. If there's one bet you don't want to have, it's the 49ers as a home favourite. 5-23 against the spread as a home favourite in their last 28. Colts covered 7 of the last 9 on the road, 4 of the last 5 overall. Taylor's playing great football. Wentz is not getting in the way, which is a start, and probably as good as you can get with him. So, I think the Colts can cover, and I think they can upset the Niners.
Okay, the reason why Paige has chosen the odd games this week is for this matchup especially. She did not want Corey having it over her. This is the matchup of the Colts v. Paige's 49ers, her equal favourite team in the comp with the Dallas Cowboys. Her second team. Corey, it's not your segment. Paige wanted this game to herself.
Come on.
So Paige,
piss off with your Colts crap, mate. Like, get out of here. This is war this week, Marco. I'm telling you. Anytime it's me v. Corey McKernan,
yes. Be an interesting wager here, all right?
Look,
give us your unbiased view on this game, Paige. Okay. What do you got for us?
Look, Jimmy G's back for the 49ers, so that's probably a good thing. In terms of steadying the ship, now I'm not saying he's a great QB by any stretch of the imagination, but a bit more seniority means that Trey Lance can come on and off and be streamed, and when they're in the red zone, that's probably when they'll call him in to do his thing.
Yep.
Couple of injuries as well coming back for the 49ers. Again, I think they've been pretty good historically off the bye, the 49ers, under Kyle Shanahan. Think they'll probably try a few new things this week. They've been a little bit stagnant. They started the year well, ran into a couple of problems, but the Colts will provide a couple of issues. I think Carson Wentz really found a groove in week 5 and 6. I think he's really started to find himself. And Jonathan Taylor, he's really evolved and become an option now for Wentz in the offense. So his running game is going to be something that the 49ers are going to have to look at to try and contain. He's been really explosive. But I'm bullish about the 49ers getting back to a winning margin here. So I'm going to take the 49ers.
Right. It's a big game for them. They've lost 3 on the trot before the bye. So a loss here really makes it tough for them.
It would be very, very, very tough from here. So if they're going to try and obviously keep pace with the bigger boys in terms of the Rams and the Cardinals in the NFC West, they're going to have to win this. But it's a very good matchup, and I think Corey's team will probably shit the bed. So
I'm looking forward to watching this matchup. I won't be having a bet in it personally, but just the chatter amongst the WhatsApp group going back and forth during the game.
Yeah, watch yourself, Corey.
That will be entertainment in itself. Okay, a Tuesday match kicking off at 11:15 on ESPN is the New Orleans Saints travel up to Seattle Seahawks here. With no Wilson at quarterback here, top rope. It's very surprising, the betting, that the Saints are dominant away favourites here of -5 at the line and a low total again of 43 flat. Top rope, both sides obviously need the win. With Seattle going to lose Wilson for maybe a month, can they overcome that, or will the Saints get the important away win?
I think the Saints get the important away win. They're very good as a road favourite, covered 17 of 24 as a road favourite. You got Jameis against Geno Smith here, which is a fair mismatch in the quarterback sacks, I would have thought. The Saints are just good at putting away ordinary sides, covered 11 of the last 14 against teams with a losing record as well. So I think the Saints here. Best bet, though, the under. Seattle just don't have any points in them with Geno Smith at quarterback. I'm not sure he's going to be let off the leash. He certainly was held on it for a good portion of the game until it was almost out of hand last week. The Saints, they've gone 10-2 under off a win, 8-2 under off a non-cover. Seattle, they've gone 6-0 under off a loss. So I just don't think there's going to be a lot of points come mindful.
Okay, Tuesday morning football, Corey, what have you got here? Saints against Seattle without Wilson. Seattle, any chance, or will Saints get the away win?
I think the Saints get the away win. Who would have thought that the Saints would come in there with being a 5-point favourite? Just unbelievable. New Orleans, I'll keep things simple. Alvin Kamara to attack Seattle's pretty poor run defense. And then, look, I think Jameis Winston will do enough to get them across the line in Monday Night Football.
Very good, Corey. Okay, if you like what you've heard, make sure you get down to Little Birdie Pod. Click on the icon for Little Birdie Shop. Get all of Top Rope's to the house mail for $22 a week, or you can still buy the season pass. If you're serious about your NFL punting, make sure you get this information. He goes through every game. There's plenty of bets options for you, so make sure you click onto the link and get all the late mail from Top Rope. Okay, Top Rope, we just want to cover the futures here for topsport.com.au. We've got a quick look at the Super Bowl prices here. We've got equal favourites at the top, my Buffalo Bills. The defending champs, Buffalo Bills at $6.50. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the defending champs, at $6.50. Chiefs on the third line at $8.25. The Inform Rams at $9. Your Baltimore Ravens at $9.50. Then we've got the undefeated Cardinals at $11. The Packers at $12. And Dallas, who are 5-1 at the moment, at $13. You can see over the page a bit of a gap develops to the Chargers at $19. The injury-depleted Browns at $23. And Tennessee, who beat Buffalo, the equal favourites at $23. And then there's a big jump to the Saints at $38. Top Rope, if you're playing one team this week, which one would it be?
Yeah, interesting. Massive statement game, I think, last week by the Ravens. They certainly trimmed up accordingly. Probably the right price here. I think Kansas City, I think I said last week, we're out to a better price. I think they're a very better price at the $8.25. So if I was having one bet, that would be it. I think they've got far more upside than the Bills. They've benefited from a pretty soft draw. They've had their first real kind of tough schedule match Monday Night Football, struggled against Tennessee. So I'd rather be with Kansas City than any of the two favourites.
Well, each week our panel of four will be granted $100 to invest, and it's sponsored by topsport.com.au. TopSport is Australia's biggest betting bookie. Bet where the pros get set. And all the profits will be donated to my platform called Walk With Me Online, where we help people out with their physical and mental fitness. And Marco, read them out about the winners.
Thanks, Corey. Okay, we'll go to the graphic here just to go through the results. We better check week 6 results. We want to see the big man. He's up and about. We can see there, unfortunately, that Nick Toprope missed out on the Chargers. They got heavily defeated, actually. Corey covered his line with his Colts, so he got double happiness there. Unfortunately, I missed out on the over total, and Paige, back and forth. She broke her phone in the meantime, but got the touchdown and got out with the win. So it was a great effort by her Cowboys, I guess.
I tell you what, every week I come in here, it's always the same.
Well, I don't know. It's strange for a 49ers fan to be Cowboys as well. But anyway, we'll just go quickly to the overall results. We had to put this in as a new graphic on Corey's request, clearly. So we've got the big man up there on top. He wanted his name first as well, 6-0. So you can just see beside it the money raised so far for Corey's platform there. You can see Nick and Paige on 3 and 3.
What are you doing, mate?
I'm bringing up the rear. Well, I've had a couple of little tough beats, but I'm working on my game.
On there?
We'll see if we can kick it off this week. But you can see the total raise there, just over $1,200. So what are we, about a third of the way through the season? So hopefully we can get that up at least into the 4,000s by the end of the season. Okay, time for week 7 tips here, ladies and gentlemen. So we will go to Corey first, 6-0, going for 7-0. What have you got for your legion of punters?
My legion of punters. No, I went to Raiders at -3 at the line. So, yeah, I'm hoping that Las Vegas do the right thing and we go to 7-0.
Okay, Paige. Come on, you're on a roll of 1 here. Let's go. Can we make it 2 in a row?
We're going to make it 2 in a row.
What have you got here?
We're going to make it 2 in a row. I am taking Arizona at the -17.5 line. That is generous. This is going to be nasty.
Okay.
R18. Put a parental advisory on that game.
Paige is looking for a smashing. Okay, just to quickly update, Top Rope's going to go the Tampa Bay Bucks -13 flat at the line. And myself, I'm going to actually tip my own team like Corey did last week, had a bit of faith in the Colts. I am going to go New England Patriots at the -7 flat at the line there. So hopefully I can start catching up on, I feel like I'm last in the division here, and I've got to just get a win on the board to keep touch with at least Paige and Toprope. So we'll look forward to those. So follow those punts, and hopefully we can go for 4-0 this week.
Boys, we've got some end-of-season Super Bowl party tickets to give away to the Little Birdie TV and Third and Long end-of-season party. Super Bowl day, of course, you guys know it. Now, I have to say I've been a little bit lazy, kind of juggling, supporting the Cowboys and the 49ers and, winning. Winning's been pretty good too, I must say. So it means I haven't gotten back to some people regarding who has won these awesome tickets on Twitter. But I promise you it's going to be done. I will reach out to you guys through a DM on Twitter. But for this week, Friday, 11:20 a.m., we've got the incredible, must-watch, mouth-watering clash between Denver and Cleveland. And let me tell you, Thursday night, tweets going out. We're going to ask you who is going to win and by how much. All you've got to do is tell us the winner and the margin, and the closest to it will win a ticket for themselves and a mate to come and party with us on Super Bowl day with Little Birdie TV, thanks to topsport.com.au.
Well, thanks, Paige. I hope you enjoyed the show. Big thanks to the Third and Long crew. You can follow us on YouTube or find us in the Apple Store, Spotify, SoundCloud, or wherever you find your podcast. Remember to follow Little Birdie TV, Third and Long TV on Twitter and Instagram. And remember, for all your NFL action, it can be found at topsport.com.au. And invest wisely, punters, and enjoy your week 7.